Those survivors are so courageous. I have some great guests on the program tonight to help me unpack that process with these survivors coming in and testifying. Joining me now in Los Angeles, California, body language expert and forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Great to have you three on the show tonight. Dr. Carole, I'd like to begin with you, if I may, please. Because we talked a lot this week about how seeing those survivors on the stand crying, shaking, clearly being brought back through all that trauma is so upsetting to watch. And it got me thinking about, what is it like for them on the days that are just days that they're not made to go and testify before the world in a court of law, right in front of the man who carried out that terror? What about the days that are just days where they may...
And it is re-traumatizing them. You know, when people, clearly they probably have PTSD. And so on days when they're not testifying, you know, it's always in the back of their mind. And when they come across things, this is what the symptoms of PTSD include. If you see something that triggers you, triggers the memory of it. And, you know, there are so many different kinds of things that could trigger the memory. The mention of it in the news, going near the school, seeing someone who you knew from school, just all kinds of things. And so they are bombarded by these kinds of triggers that remind them of the horrible event. But, you know, when someone undergoes a trauma, especially like a violent trauma, and of course the treatment of that is going to a psychiatrist and talking about it. And also sometimes EMDR, other modalities as well. But, you know, it's hard for them to come to a psychiatrist and talk about it, which is how you diffuse the emotion, how you get out all of the emotion so that it's less painful each time. But it's hard for them to do that, even though it's something that will help them in therapy. So needless to say, going on the stand, to talk about these things is not very therapeutic at all, and yet it's very painful for them.
Right. Our hearts break for them. Let me bring in Dr. Carole Lieberman. She's a body language expert and forensic psychiatrist standing by in Los Angeles tonight. Dr. Carole, help us understand this, please, when he's saying he's hearing voices. Should we believe him?
Yes, we should believe him. Clearly, not only is he hearing voices, but was hearing command hallucinations, voices telling him to do certain things. And he talks about how he took Xanax and took marijuana to try to quiet the voices, but that actually makes the voices worse, especially the marijuana. But, you know, it's so interesting. Before the detective comes in, he makes a motion with his finger like he's shooting himself. He shoots himself in the head, he shoots himself in the mouth, he shoots himself in the chest. Really, he has made suicide attempts before. So suicide is sort of the flip side of what he did. And he's feeling angry at himself. He's feeling self-loathing, which is what he projected onto the school. But this is someone who has had, like he said, the voices have been there for a very long time, at least since his father died, which was when he was age 5 or 6. And so, really, I presume that's going to be part of the defense, that he was hearing these command hallucinations to tell him to go shoot up the school.
Absolutely. We're going to be hearing that when they get to start presenting all of the mitigating evidence they have to try to spare his life. I want to show another clip for everyone now, Dr. Carole, and get your analysis on the other side. So at the very start of the witness testimony in the case, and those who've watched this penalty phase of the trial closely might remember this, we've been seeing lots of recordings played in court. Oftentimes just the jury can see them. We can't show them on court TV. Even the spectators in the gallery won't be able to see them because some of them are so graphic. They put a partition up to block everyone in the gallery from viewing what the jury's seeing. And in one in particular, it was cell phone video shot by one of the students. You can hear lots of sounds of gunshots, lots of sounds of people screaming. And Nicholas Cruz's reaction really stood out. Now, I want to warn you as we play this clip, this is very disturbing. If you think this might upset you, walk out of the room for the next couple of minutes. But let's take a look at this, and Dr. Carole's going to analyze Nicholas Cruz's reaction in the courtroom as it was being played.
Holy sh**. Oh my God!
He terrorized those students and teachers that day. And then he's having a hard time listening to it. I don't think anybody feels bad for him. Dr. Carole, what did you see with his reaction, please?
Yes, well, he's covering his eyes and he's covering his ears. He's putting his head down. He doesn't that he did that. I mean, yes, he had fantasies of killing people for a very long time, you know, as we see in his what he wrote on social media and so on. But, you know, just like what we saw in the jailhouse, the interrogation that day, it's like he still can't believe that he actually did it. You know, it's kind of interesting. If you look at him, he seems so casual sitting in that room, and yet it's first coming to seem like reality that he actually acted out on these fantasies that he had been thinking about for a very long time. So now in the courtroom, when he's covering, he doesn't want to see that. You know, he doesn't want to believe that he actually did it. There's a dissociation between the Nicholas Cruz who went into that school and did all the shooting and the Nicholas Cruz after.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, it is great to have your analysis tonight. I know we'll be talking to you a lot more as this penalty phase of his trial progresses. Thank you kindly for making time with us tonight, and thank you for being with us at home. Have to take a quick break, but when we come back...